What is up guys, Andy Forrestine Runner here and welcome back to another video, and today we're talking all about building a training plan. So my goal today is to take you guys through the process of building a training plan. In particular, we're going to be using my London Marathon training as an example. I built this training plan, or have been building it, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm actually now in week 2 of this 13-week training block. So I've tinkered with it and I'm pretty happy with how it's looking right now. We're going to be going through from scratch, right from the ground up, how I started building the training plan, where I start with adding in workouts, how I structure everything, how I structure my weeks, and how I finish everything off so that I'm happy with the end result. So if you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and we'll kickstart with the first step. So let's start off by dropping in those tune-up races and the goal race. Getting those down in the training plan first is key for me because it allows me to start to work around workouts and the general structure. Obviously I have a weekly structure which we'll cover shortly, but it allows me to see if I can break anything up into mini blocks, or if I need to drop in easy runs after certain races which might fall on a workout day. So basically how I need to structure everything, and that is kind of foundational to building up from there. I always put those in first and then almost build around it. And these these races have actually worked out really well because they've allowed me to almost have mini blocks during this London training, like 4 weeks, 4 weeks, and 5 weeks, which is absolutely ideal because I can take a little bit of a rest week on those race weeks, just tone the mileage down a tiny bit. Nothing crazy, but just allow the body to absorb what we've been doing over the last 3 weeks and then go again into the next mini block. So that's what I like to do first. And then obviously at this stage as well, mileage considerations. Now, what I've actually done personally, and this is a complete personal preference, but I've moved away from working in mileage and I've gone to time because I find that I can progress time better. For example, if I have a weekly target of hitting 50 miles a week for 2 weeks, then 55 miles a week for 2 weeks, and so on and so forth. What actually might happen is in week 1, if I'm going for 50 miles, I might do that in 7 hours. That might be 7 hours total running, but then the next 50 miles the next week might be 6 hours 45 minutes because I've run some of the runs faster, and actually I'm not progressing my time on feet. Don't forget, the key in all of this, and the key with running, is your body doesn't understand mileage or anything. It just knows the intensity you're putting into it and time on feet. So that's all it registers. It doesn't know how many miles you're clocking. It doesn't have an internal GPS built in. So I like to work in time so that I can progress the time week in, week out, and I've done that based on the workouts that you'll see very, very shortly. You'll see as we progress through the plan, those workouts will get slightly longer, and so the time on feet will get slightly more. And now for the exciting bit. Once we've got those tune-up races and the goal race plotted out, I then spend some time working on these sessions. Now, these are the bits that I always come back to and tinker, and these are the last bits that I like to cement in. Although I plot them down on the plan as one of the first steps, I'm always going back to the plan week in, week out, and kind of assessing how I felt on the previous week's workout, whether I felt it was too much, too little, and I might adjust and adapt as I go. Because at the end of the day, that's what plans are for. They're there as a guide, but we need to go with what our body feels. So you can see what I've done on Monday is where I'm doing a lot of my marathon pace specific work. Alternate weeks, I'm doing blocks of marathon work, and the other alternate weeks, I'm doing work around marathon pace, at goal marathon pace, and then slightly quicker. So I'm just mixing things up there and varying it. And you'll see I've made little notes in that column as to the length and duration that I'm working, like how long I think that run's going to take, and how, because I like to work in time, and just plotting that progression. So those little notes are for my benefit, but I've left them in there because it shows you how I like to plan it, and the notes, mental notes I make, I like to get them out on the training plan there. It just helps me register what I'm doing, if that makes sense. And then the Wednesday sessions, that's my double threshold work, and as of London Marathon training, some special block work going in there too. Again, I'm not going to go into detail about that now. If you want to know more about special block training, there is some amazing articles out there on the internet. Plus, Sweat Elite produced an incredible video. All you have to do is go onto YouTube and search Sweat Elite Canova special block. You'll see a couple of videos there. They've split the morning and the evening workouts out, and that's what I want to do. I want to be alternating those. Canova likes to drop those in 10 weeks out from marathon day. And so I'm just going to be alternating from 10 weeks out, a special block on a Wednesday with a double threshold. What I found with the double threshold work over the last training block is that my legs feel super, super strong. And my goal for this London Marathon is to feel aerobically fit and have legs that are strong. I'm not looking to be in the best marathon shape I've ever been in, but I want to have strong legs and I want to feel like aerobically a marathon isn't as challenging as it normally can feel. So that's my goal for London, and that's my goal for Wednesday, just to continually repeat those types of workouts on the Wednesday. So once I've got those mapped out, I can then start to fill in the extra bits. And that first extra bit is the long run, my favourite run of the week. And I've actually left the long run quite open-ended. You'll see that all I've put in that column for the moment is just moderate long runs. That's all I want. Don't want to be doing any easy pace long runs. I want to be doing sort of zone 2 if you work in heart rate, moderate long runs, maybe some sprinkling in a bit of zone 3 there. And the heart rate will creep into zone 3 because there will be some tinkering with the long runs. And actually my goal for the long runs during this block is to simply take it week in, week out. I am going to be dropping in some long run workouts, but the reality is they will probably be on the fly. I'll see how I feel. Like the previous weekend just gone, if you caught that training episode, you'll see that I started off relatively slow and I had a faster finish. I'll be doing things like that, or I'll be throwing in some surges, or I'll be doing mile on, mile off, or K on, K off. During a long run, I'll be experimenting with a few things, but I'm absolutely putting no pressure on myself, and I'm waking up on a Saturday morning and seeing how I feel. My goal for this marathon training block is to simply try and hit above 2 hours 15 per long run. I don't really want to go below that, so I know in my head that that's where my long runs are going to be at. And then when I feel comfortable with 2 hour 15, 2 hour 20, 2 hour 30, which is actually what I did last weekend, then I'll feel like I can throw in some more spicy long run workouts. But as I said earlier, my focus is Monday and Wednesday, and Saturday will be all about banking aerobic miles. And if I feel like I can throw in some extra, I will, but if not, I am completely happy with just running moderate long runs. And the final piece to this marathon training plan puzzle is the easy runs, or moderate runs as well. I'm going to talk about those very, very shortly, because you won't see too many of those. Bar the long run, you'll see none of those, which if you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know that I love a good moderate run. I actually did one this morning, the day that I'm recording this video, and I'll explain that shortly why I dropped that in, just because of the reshuffle of the week. But on the whole, I've just popped the easy runs in and the rest days in. Easy Tuesday, Friday, rest days, Thursday, Sunday. You'll see notes on there that say 60 minutes. Basically all that is if I've got more time than 60 minutes, I will use it and I will go out for 70 or 80 minutes. I get my morning runs done before the school run, so it depends what time I get up and if I can get out there. But the 60 minutes in there is just a mental thing to make sure that I know that the minimum I want to run is 60 minutes. I really feel like if I can stretch those, not basic runs, but the smallest runs of the week to be 60 minutes, then all round by the end of the plan, I'm going to feel really, really good. It's just something that I like to do. I don't want to go out there for 30 or 40 minutes. I want to be out there for 60 minutes, and I just want to soak everything up. And that's my time to reset, refresh, and reflect on the week so far, how the workouts have gone, and just kind of absorbing everything. I'm out on the trails doing that at the moment, and that's where they will stay until the London Marathon. So that is the final piece of the puzzle. So let's just very quickly get a bit more specific before we wrap this up. I'll throw on screen now a typical running week in a bit more detail so you can see it and a bit more clarity. So as you can see there, Monday is a session, Tuesday easy, Wednesday double threshold or special block, Thursday rest, Friday easy, Saturday moderate long run, Sunday rest. That's going to be the standard if I can stick to it, but school holidays are coming up, and so that means that things might have to be moved around. So what I'm going to do now is throw on screen an alternate week that I will potentially do. That's something I'm going to be doing this week right now, because I am otherwise engaged on Wednesday evening. I have school stuff to do because it's end of term, and if you're a parent, you know that end of term, last couple of weeks, is a nightmare. So I couldn't get out on Wednesday evening, so I'm shifting things around and moving my double day to a Thursday, which means I've got scope to drop in a moderate run. So what I did is my Monday marathon pace session this week, then I got my easy run done, and instead of doing another easy run, I wanted to do a moderate run. Now moderate runs are in that zone 2 area, so there's going to be a lot of zone 1 and zone 2 work during this training block. As I said, aerobic fitness is my #1 priority, along with leg strength. So I'm not going to be pushing anything crazy. And I did attempt to dial things back this morning. So my average heart rate was 146. Normally I sit in the range of 148 to 153, but I have just scaled it back because obviously I know I have a double day the next day, but I do like to work in that moderate zone. I do find I get really good benefits, and that is an alternate week that I may or may not drop in on occasions. So there we go, that's how I build a training plan, how I structure a training plan. Now I know a lot of you guys out there build your own plans too, so I'd love to know what your routine is when you come to building a plan. Are you quite similar to me? Do you put the races in first and then the sessions and work around that? Or do you start the other way around? Do you put the easy days in and then put the sessions in at the end? I'd love to know your thoughts, and obviously I'd love to know your thoughts on the training. Obviously from my perspective, this is a completely different type of marathon block that I've done before. I'm just having 2 intense days and that's it. The long runs are going to be a bit more chilled out than what they have been, just because I want to put all my eggs in the basket of Monday and Wednesday. As I said, it's going to be a different build up for me, but I'm feeling right now aerobically fit and I want to continue that so that I get to London Marathon start line, as I said, not in peak marathon training shape, but I want to be aerobically fit so the distance doesn't scare me and I feel like I can get to the end in a really respectable time. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you a bit of an insight and I hope it gives you some inspiration to build your own training plans. If you did enjoy it, please do give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Until then.